Welcome to Coffee and a Pipe. I'm Eric. Sit down, take your time. This moment is ours. This is the story about my old neighbor. When I was about 6 years old, we had elderly neighbors living next door. They were well into their 80s and lived in a small old house that always felt warm and lived in. Behind the house was a large vegetable garden where they grew their own potatoes and vegetables. There was an old apple tree, too, along with rows of berry bushes that seemed enormous to me as a child. I still vaguely remember seeing them out there working the soil with slow determination. Bent backs, worn hands, simple clothes. The kind of people who had spent their whole lives working without ever complaining much about it. They could be grumpy too. Whenever our football landed in their garden, we would nervously climb over the fence to get it back. More than once, they stood at the window shaking their fists at us while we tried to escape as quickly as possible. Sometimes we even knocked on their window and ran off laughing like boys do. Of course, my mother was never impressed when she found out. But during those moments of childish mischief, I would sometimes look through the window and catch small glimpses of another world. I remember seeing the table being set for supper, plates carefully laid out, curtains glowing softly in the evening light, and always the old neighbor sitting in his chair with a pipe in his mouth. That image stayed with me. The way he smoked seemed effortless, natural, as if the pipe had simply become part of him over the years. He was never studying it, never thinking about technique or flavor notes. He simply filled it, lit it, and sat quietly with his thoughts. Then one day, the old woman passed away, and the neighbor was left alone. Back then, we came home from school in the middle of the day for dinner, and my mother began preparing meals for him as well. Quite often, I was the one sent over to bring the food. For a 6 or 7-year-old boy, it was both fascinating and a little intimidating. I would step into that quiet little house carrying a plate of food while he sat there calmly smoking his pipe. The room always seemed still, peaceful somehow. I would place the food on the table, we would exchange a few simple words, and after wishing him a good meal, I would head back home to eat my own dinner. Funny how certain memories stay with you. Now, while smoking my own pipe, I sometimes think back to those moments, not only to the old neighbor, but also to my grandfather, who smoked in much the same way. With ease, simple movements, filling the pipe, striking a match, sitting down, no analysis, no discussion about flavor profiles or lighting methods. The pipe was not the center of attention. It simply accompanied the moment. And perhaps that is where the true power of the pipe reveals itself. These days, with YouTube and endless tobacco reviews, there is so much discussion about flavors, techniques, and subtle tasting notes. And truthfully, I enjoy watching those videos too. I like trying different blends now and then. I understand why people describe them in such detail, and for many pipe smokers, that information is genuinely useful. But somewhere along the way, something else can quietly disappear. The simplicity, the instinctive act of filling a pipe and lighting it without thinking too much about it. The quiet moments where time seems to fade a little, where thoughts slowly settle into place. where ideas appear without effort. Some people will say all the discussion is unnecessary and overcomplicate something beautifully simple. Others truly enjoy describing every flavor and aroma they can detect in a tobacco. As for me, I have never been very good at that part. I usually only know one thing. I either enjoy a tobacco or I do not. And perhaps that is enough. Because when you sit down with a cup of coffee and a pipe, when you allow yourself to slow down and drift away for a little while, you begin to understand what the pipe is really capable of. Not as a hobby to analyze, but as a quiet companion to thought, memory, and time itself. Take your time. This moment is yours.